is taken as a part of Adam to become the divine feminine who will birth all of humanity. Right? So that's the image that the Kabbalah has. And it says that right in the Torah, Bereshit bara Elohim, which gets translated as, in a beginning, God created. But that's a wrong translation. That's a wrong translation because the Hebrew has Bereshit, in a beginning, bara, created, that's the verb, created, Elohim, in a beginning, created God. Now the English is having difficulties with that because it's looking for the subject. Where is the subject in that phrase? In a beginning, created God. So what the English assumes that the Hebrew is wrong. And what we're going to do is take the object of that sentence and obviously transform it into the subject. And then we now have, in a beginning, God created. But the Kabbalists say, no way! You can't do that. Who gives you the right to change the words in the sentence? The subject is right here, in plain sight, though you can't see it because it's unformed, it's empty. It's that. And they're saying that after the first word that says in a beginning, there is a blank there. There is a space. There is a silence. Because nothing can be said about that. So they're saying, in a beginning, blank, created God. Because blank needed to create God in order for that to birth the rest of the story. Wow. We have traveled already into alternate dimensions, but you see how the Kabbalah is actually thinking about how the universe was made? So that Elohim, how was it made? Et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. These are the words that follow. Bereshit bara Elohim, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Usually translated, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. But now it's not impossible anymore because now we have in the beginning that created God with heaven and with earth. Now, heaven and earth have not been created yet. That's a few days later. So we can't think about heaven and earth as real things, because they are not yet. They are ideas, they are concepts, they are energies. What this is talking about is that God, that blank, created Elohim with earth-bound energies, descending, manifesting energies, and heaven-bound energies, transcending energies. That Elohim, that God, like I said, was the interface between the transcendent and the manifest. Because within it, all of their energies were there. And then what happens? What happens when you need to create? When you need to create anything, you need an inside and an outside. You need a singular and a plural. 4 quadrants. That's all there is to creating anything. An inside and an outside, a singular and a plural. That's how it works. So what does Elohim now do? That divine feminine, the divine mom, the divine mother birthing this universe? In the midst of tov vavohu, chaos, and darkness, and void, and emptiness, bursts forth light. Let there be light. Light is what is, but not the light again, not the light of the switch. Light, energy, that creative energy is what is being burst forth in the womb of the divine feminine. And how is this born? This is born out of darkness. This is born out of nothingness. Right? So from the oneness of darkness becomes now 2. You get a singular and a plural. Because God says, you hear the very next verse, and God made a separation between the light and the darkness, right? From 1 is 2. From within becomes the light without. We have an inside and an outside. We have a one becoming a two. And the rest of the process of creation is all ones becoming twos. Because how do you create? You make separation. The nuclear becomes two, which becomes another two, becomes another two, another two. This is how life happens, people. This is the whole process of creation. You separate light from darkness, the above from below, the waters from the heavens from the waters of the earth, the waters on the earth from the land. Everything gets separated, divided. One into two, one into two, one into two. Dualistic consciousness, dualistic manifestation. Love it! Have I lost everybody yet? No? Wow! In the beginning, blank created God. Just that. It's awesome. We missed the whole thing by saying it otherwise. Now, from the inner perspective, right? I said earlier that this was in fact a template for how we manifest and create. So think about it. In the beginning, there is that kind of voidness, unconscious thing that begins to take place in the farthest recesses of our soul, of our subconscious, our unconscious, right? When we manifest something, when we create something, it doesn't show up at our doorstep, all wrapped up nicely with a bow. And we open it and it's like, oh, here it is, I created something, look at that. No. It's a process that takes days, weeks, months, sometimes years, sometimes a very painful process of creation. But it always begins in that place that is in the farthest recess of our subconscious, of our soul. Something shifts, something's moving. Elohim gets created somewhere in there. The soul is moved. And that might take some time. It's completely out of our awareness. And then at some point, there's a flash of light that comes through. And we said the light went on. We said it in English, we have the light bulb, right? The light went on. You know, this is a very telling expression. The light went on. Let there be light. And the light was on. Wow. But we're not quite sure yet. It's got really no form. It's an idea, maybe a solution for something that I've been wrestling with, but I can't put my finger on it, what it is yet. It's there, but it's amorphous. It doesn't have any shape. And we're going to go through this process and working with that idea, that light that came, and we're going to start through our own workings to differentiate, to see what it is not, so that what it is can begin to take shape. We're going to inform it. We're going to start to manifest it. The image that I have is the story with Michelangelo and the little girl. Have you heard about that story? There's this little girl that walks by Michelangelo's atelier, we say in French, where you carve all of these beautiful statues. And she sees in the garden that he's finishing this gorgeous, amazing statue of this woman. And right next to it there's this huge block of marble that he hasn't even started yet. And the little girl asks him, so what's the process of what you were creating? He says, well, we start with a big block of marble. And then the little girl starts to think about it and says, so you start with a big block of marble, but how did you know the woman was in the marble already? And he says, well, it was. All I had to do is chip away at what was around it. I love that story. How did you know the lady was already in the marble? And that's how we create. We chip away at all that it is not, and then the idea come to be. We inform it, it takes shape, right? We say, oh, that idea is now taking shape. I see it. I can talk about it. I can describe it to you. And as I do that, by my speaking it, by my sharing it, I make it manifest. Suddenly it is in the world. Suddenly it's taking life. Suddenly it's here. It's at this level of consciousness. Same process as the story of Genesis. And if the story ended there, it would be fabulous. But unfortunately, it doesn't. Because in that moment of that idea, that solution, that thing, whatever it is we manifested, that through us was manifested, we make a huge mistake. One of the biggest mistakes we get to make as human beings. We look at it and we claim authorship. We look at it and we claim authorship. We look at that idea, at that concept, at that creation, and the ego steps in and says, well, that's mine. I did that. I created that, me. Mine. My idea, my creation, mine. But if you really heard how the process went, there was no ego involved in that. It flowed through us. It manifested through us. The ego didn't get in and started to decide. If the ego had gone in, we would never have had the idea. Because the ego always tries to force things the way the ego sees things need to go. And it actually stops the process of creation. So in fact, when we truly create, authentically create, there is no ego involved. Yet, we claim authorship. When God is flowing through us, manifesting this entire creation, and we could just let it do it. We have the chutzpah, I tell you, to step in and say, no, this is mine. I, and only I, could do that. I mean, can you hear? So, many of the spiritual teachers are saying, you want to really awaken to the truth of who you are? Do you want to really remember the source of being that is your source? That flows through you right here, right now? You have to let go of that false sense of authorship. That claims things belong to it. I mean, even this body-mind. This is my body. My mind. As if I created it. Thanks, Mom and Dad. As if I have any control over it. Either one of them. Neither my body nor my mind. If not, I would be thinking good thoughts all my life. I would never be angry and I would never lose it. I was completely in charge. I would be loving and compassionate day in and day out until I was bored of it. Right? But still we say, my body, my mind, my life, my creation, my children, my car, my job, my house, my... Hello? That's not the way it's actually happening. Can you let go of that need to claim authorship? Can you let yourself be a pure channel of the divine energy that seeks to flow through you unimpeded? Can you remove the obstacles you put in its way? In the Christian tradition, the Christian mystics actually quote Jesus. I rarely quote Jesus. Actually, I never quote Jesus, so let's do it. But the mystics have this amazing phrase, thy will, not mine, be done. From the mystics is, yeah, what else is happening here? Can you wake up to that? That moment to moment. This is what is going on. Now, from the Jewish perspective, we do it a little bit differently. We actually seek to awaken to the divine as it is unfolding in front of us in this world, through community, through relationships. Shiviti Adonai Negdi Tamid, Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav had that, it was his mantra. I place the Holy One of Being in front of me always, because that presence keeps reminding me of the truth of what's going on here. I see through nature, I see through people, the manifest aspect of the divine. That is the bridge. The world is, for me, a bridge towards greater levels of consciousness. When I keep reminding myself that what it is I'm seeing is the divine manifesting, moment to moment, and the miracle of it all.